Talk of the town. Talk of the town. Take
Hmm.
4.
Four.
We're on the fourth one,
Back
baby.
at it again.
4.
Back at it again.
Yes, sir. It was a very interesting week of sports, I would say. A lot of teams we thought might look competitive, might have just opened up the NFC a little bit, and I think the AFC is starting to look more two-teamish to me. But I first wanted to start off with what did you guys think on the Bucks versus Saints, and what did it show you about the Saints, and what did it show you about the Bucks?
You could take this one first, yeah.
Okay, so me personally, so just based off how the Bucks have played these past few games, I would just chalk this up to this being a bad week for them. Like, I mean, like this is sports. Like teams just have bad games. But the Saints did. The Saints did show me something. The Saints are a different team with Michael Thomas.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
teams pay so much mind to Mike Thomas that it opens up everything for everybody else. And you can't blitz them because even though Drew Brees isn't throwing it downfield, he's still one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the game. So the Saints with Mike Thomas is definitely a threat.
Okay, so the Bucks have been like, I feel like they've been taking steps back a lot lately. Like, they played the Giants really close, and that was kind of like an eye opener for me. They had another week. Oh yeah, when they lost to the Bears, that was another like iffy one to me. And then they keep coming up short against the Saints. And being that it's a division rival, I feel like that's the kind of game you have to show up for, no matter what. And that's 2 times this season that they haven't. And it's like, obviously, I know Brady's going to show up in the big time games. It's not something I'm worried about. Is
he
in the playoffs? You don't think Brady's going to show up?
I don't know if he's his old self. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if he's his old self. Like it's so with the Saints, right? Like that's just one of many defenses that you're going to play that are going to scheme against you. You know what I mean? Like the Saints showed you that if you were to see them again, I really believe the Saints would beat them again. Like so, I think they keep exposing themselves in those tight games. If we're being serious, like the Giants really exposed them, but Daniel Jones is sorry, and they couldn't win the game. Like and then. They did the same. The Saints did the same thing, but blew them out because they had better quarterback play. So I just don't know if we can honestly get the same Brady of old because I don't think Brady is himself of old. Like he was throwing lollipops to the defenses, man. Like in the words of my man Sam Darnold, Brady was seeing ghosts like on Sunday. So it just didn't look good for him.
And
Okay, go ahead, KJ.
All right, so the only thing I would really say to that is, I mean, it's true what you're saying. I'm not going to deny, but I hold different weight from the regular season to the playoffs. And Brady's performed in the playoffs time and time again. And the Saints have, like, folded, to me, per se, the past few years. So I can't say that they would perform the same way against the Bucks in the playoffs. And I can't say that the Bucks will perform the same way against the Saints in the playoffs. I feel like it'd be a completely different kind of game and a completely different kind of atmosphere.
So Brady was good in playoffs in the AFC, but that changes completely. Like you're dealing with different defensive coordinators, you're dealing with different defenses. Like you're going to be dealing with offenses that can score with you. The only offense that really could have held their own with Brady in their prime, like when Brady was on his run the past several years, was the Chiefs. And then every time they played the Steelers, they folded. So it's like it's different. You're in a different conference. I think the NFC was always the more balanced conference. I think the AFC is more top heavy. So he's going to be dealing with, I think, a completely different landscape of teams where he's not used to. Brady done seen a million of those teams a million times. So it's a little bit of comfortability there. Like you've never played against probably the Rams. You've never seen Russ in a playoff game because like Russ turns into a whole different animal. Like it is
Super Bowls.
Yeah, seen Russ.
He's seen Russ once. True.
Super Bowls.
But it's different.
The Rams too. But all right, so my question here, right? So even though this isn't Brady of old, do y'all think that as Brown gets more time in this offense and learns this offense, that his weapons that he has will be enough to carry him.
So I think what we wanted Chris Godwin to be early in the season is going to be Antonio Brown. You know what I mean? Working out of the slot like completely. That's going to be AB, right?
I
Because
personally think that they should put Mike Evans in the slot simply because he's a big body and Brady. I mean, like Brady's accurate, but like Brady isn't like pushing like like fly routes like that. Like Brady's keeping it in the hashes. Give him that big body there. Evans is doing what he has to do.
And I really think losing OJ Howard hurt them too.
It did.
Like, and people don't want to talk about it, but like, because Gronk is not Gronk of old. I think they really wanted to put Gronk on the snap count. You know what I mean? But I really think they really wanted to incorporate OJ Howard, and you can tell by some of the routes that Gronk is running.
Yeah,
like those are athletic tight end routes, speed outs, post, things of that nature, corner routes. Like that is for athletic tight ends. Gronk is not that anymore. So like any weapons as they have, you would think they would perform better. And I just think that they're slightly underachieving, but they're not really overachieving either. You know what I mean? Like for the team that they have, you expect them to have at least the amount of wins that they have. So that I got to give to them.
Word. So, all right. So then after seeing the game this weekend, because obviously we were saying, we like the Bucs as a good challenge contender to the Chiefs. After how the game went this weekend, do you see any contenders to the Chiefs in the AFC or NFC? And if y'all do, what teams would those be?
I don't see a team that can really challenge them, but a team that can possibly make it interesting based off of how they finished the season is the Cardinals. And I know that they lost this week. I know that they lost this week, but you're beating them by holding the ball or scoring with them. And I think that Cardinals offense has the firepower to score with them. I also think that the Colts could possibly beat them, but Phillip Rivers. So, yeah.
So I think the team that's going to make it interesting, and I think is the only team, would be the Tennessee Titans. And what I mean by that is because like they've shown offensive explosions, you know what I mean, and they don't have a defense, but they have really good weapons. Like Corey Davis is finally starting to come along. AJ Brown is a mismatch nightmare for anybody. Jonnu Smith, I think, is a really good piece. And then when you can somehow keep the ball with Derrick Henry, so you can work clock and score, I think they would make it more interesting than the Cardinals, who don't really, who can't really pound the clock, you know what I mean, work the clock and everything of that nature. Like the ball touches Kyler hand every play for a reason, So I think they're a little more suited. I don't know. It's just weird because you can't get into a shootout with that team. You know what I mean? And then it's like, how long can you play keep away from them? You know what I mean? So it's a weird situation with them. But I don't know. Like I would like to see Russ and Patty go at it. But it's just, I don't even know if they're even going to really get out of their NFC. So, but I just don't see a team really.
Yeah, I mean, I really got to agree with Zeke. I definitely like the Titans as the team to beat the Chiefs. But if I had to pick a second team, I would have to say the Seahawks, only because their defense is bad, obviously. But
it's trash.
It's absolutely.
I told y'all.
But it's like if they start to at least play somewhat decent, I feel like Russell Wilson and the Seahawks offense is one of the few offenses that can keep up with the Chiefs. And if the defense
absolutely,
and if the defense is just so happening to playing well in the time period or on the day, I feel like they're the team that could definitely knock them off.
Okay, so these past few weeks, Russ has been throwing picks like crazy. You can't give the Chiefs the ball without matching them.
Absolutely.
Do y'all think that could be something that is lingering, or something that is just a fluke here?
So here's the thing with this. Oh, go ahead, KJ.
All right, so he's definitely been turning the ball over a lot, and it's definitely something to worry about. But I feel like if I'm Pete Carroll or I'm the Seahawks, I feel like I'm glad it's getting out the way now, because if he's getting the turnovers out the way now, it's only going to get better down the road. He's only going to elevate his play in the playoffs. So I don't think this is something. I don't feel like Russell Wilson's one of those players that's going to keep turning the ball over. It's something that he needs to correct. I think he knows that, and he's going to keep getting better with it. And yeah, I definitely think Russ is going to be fine. I think the Seahawks are going to be fine too down the road for sure.
So I don't. And I think you're going to continue to turn the ball over for the simple reason that he doesn't have the run game that he used to. Like when you're missing your two backs, right, there's huge amount of pressure on Russ. And not that he can't hold it, but he doesn't have a defense, right? So Russ is literally having to go score for score with some of these teams that can actually afford to get one stop, right? And so my thing with the Seahawks, I think their defense will get better for the simple fact you just got Jamal Adams back. Carlos Dunlap is back. Snack Harrison is getting himself into conditioning, so I think it's with them, like you would hope it's quicker than later, you know what I mean? Like sooner than later. But it's just they better get it together soon because you can't keep putting that much pressure on Russ to sit there and throw 45 times a game. Like he still put up 34 points and turned the ball over 4 times. Like that should tell you everything you need to know about one, the Seattle's offense, but two, the Seattle's defense, which is kind of unheard of dealing with Pete Carroll. So I think they got to figure that part out like quickly because if not, then I don't even think they'll end up winning their division because they have 2 teams behind them that can like get stops, and that's what they do. They turn it. So
okay, so
right.
Say that one more time.
The Seahawks and Rams play this week, right?
The Seahawks and the Rams play this week for first place. So kind of to counter both of y'all. So I like the Seahawks. I like the Titans, right? My issue with them is that they've been playing in close games with teams that aren't at their comp. So playing in close games with teams like the Vikings, like the Cowboys. Even though we've spoken on the Bengals and how like they're a few plays from being 6-1, they're 1-6 for or 1-6-1 for a reason. So is that something of concern? Not.
So, but I would say to counter that, right, with Vrabel, like they've never been a flashy team, right? But they've always won the close games. Like that's just the kind of team that they've been since he's got there. Like they've never been a real flashy team, you know what I mean? So they're not going to completely dominate you. They're not going to completely like their defense is going to show up one game, the offense is going to show up one game. Like they might win a game on special teams, you know what I mean? So they've always played it close. That's just how they've been. And I just think some teams are like that. And for an example, Seattle's always been like that. You know what I mean? Like since Pete Carroll's got there, they've never had really flashy games. They always had a dominant defense. But even with that defense, they were winning games like 17-12 or 13-9. You know what I mean? Like they won a playoff game 7-6. So it's just some teams are flashy and can dominate in other ways, and some teams just get it done. And I think another person that is like that is Bill Belichick as well. Like a lot of his teams weren't really as dominant except for that 2007 year. You know what I mean? Where they were just the team, but other than that, they were really just they pulled out the close games. So, but that brings me to our topic in which we talked about though, which is Russ was the foregone MVP for about 5-6 weeks, right? 5, 6, 7 weeks, right? I think that race is open. And I think he allowed 2 names to slide in there that he shouldn't allowed in there because those 2 are playing at a godly level. So, and those 2 names I think are Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes. So I just want to know what do y'all think on who your MVP is right now, and does Russ still have a chance?
I think Pat Mahomes is clear cut number 1. I agree.
I
don't even think we like a conversation right now. Obviously, early in the season it was the way Russ was playing, but these past few weeks he's dropped off. I think Pat Mahomes is clear cut. I don't even think it should be close. They said Lamar got it unanimous last year, and if he did last year, then Pat should be right up there, close to getting unanimous MVP. Easy.
I think
one, man. Like
see, here's the thing. That goes back to what I said last week. The voter fatigue. He is going to suffer from that, bro. But I don't think it hits yet. But I do think that it's going to be a 3-man race. But Patrick is going to stretch. But it's him, Russ, and Kyler Murray. I think that Kyler is making a good case right now. And I was going through the Cardinals schedule. I wouldn't be shocked if they finish their season like 8-1 or 7-2.
I can see that.
And if they get that hot, okay, his name is going to start buzzing, But Russ's play these past couple weeks, coupled with Patrick's play these past couple weeks, has now made this race wide open.
So here's how I think that is really about to go down, right? So it's not like I think Russ is going to struggle so much, but I think Pat is elevating so much that it's like they're ignoring it now, but it's getting hard not to, right? So in the blowout games, he looks dominant. In the close games, he's clutch. When they need plays, he makes them. So it's getting to the point where it's like you can't keep ignoring it. And then when you look at his touchdown to interception ratio, you can't express it enough. It's 25-1 in 9 weeks. In 9 weeks. And he throws the ball probably as much or more than any quarterback in the NFL. And you can see his elevation in game and the way he's reading coverages. I believe he really didn't start reading coverages until last year, because now you see when he's actually reading coverages, he's 25-1. You know what I mean? So, and I think where he's going to get it over everybody is the fact that he wins the tight games, he's clutching those moments, and he's dominant in everything that he does, So I think Russ' team is going to hurt his MVP race. And I think Aaron Rodgers' team is going to hurt his MVP race, because when they look good, they look good. When they look bad, Aaron Rodgers throws 2 interceptions, and they just look bad for the rest of the season. Well, the rest of that game, I should say. So I think that's what's going to elevate Pat over all those guys. And it is going to be voter fatigue. He's probably going to be one of those players that should win it almost every year.
Single year.
And it's just he's going to catch voter fatigue bad, because he's that guy right now. I don't think there's anyone better.
Not even close.
So going off that, we should give our top 10 quarterbacks now. KJ, you can start it.
All right. So after obviously what was just said, we got Patty at number 1, Russ at 2, Rodgers at 3. I'm keeping that top 3 intact. 4 is Deshaun Watson. 5 is Kyler Murray. 6 is Josh Allen. 7 is Derek Carr. And then I round out my 3 with Tannehill, Breeze, and Justin Herbert.
Tough.
You can go ahead, Zeke.
So with mine, I got Pat 1, right? I got Aaron Rodgers 2. I got Kyler at 3. I dropped Russ to 4 just for this week. He had 4 turnovers, so I wasn't feeling it. I had D-Watt at 5. I got Drew Brees at 6. I got Matt Ryan 7. I got Justin Herbert at 8. I got Derek Carr at 9. And I got Teddy B at 10. He lit it up this week, and I got to give him his credit.
Like that list.
Okay. 1, Patrick Mahomes. Have to. 2, Russ. 3, A-Rod. And then that top tier now, I have to put Kyler Murray. So now that top tier has 4. 5, D-Watt. 6, I got to go J Herb. J Herb has been wilding this season. And
second in the league.
Listen. The Chargers have been this close
for so many years.
For 2 years. For these past 2 years. Honestly, bro, these past 2 years, the Chargers are 4-19 in 1 possession games.
Oh my God. That's bad.
4-19 in 1 possession games.
That's a mind-blowing stat.
That's bad.
But yeah, back to the list. 7, I got Josh Allen. 8, I gotta put Derek Carr. I gotta put Derek Carr. They're winning. 9, Joey B, and 10, Teddy B.
Hey, tough.
Brady dropped out just off of how bad he looked.
Brady dropped out, me too.
Yeah, but that's my top 10 this week.
Awesome. So being that we just gave our top 10 QBs, what is y'all top 7 teams looking like this week?
Yes, you
And how
start.
do y'all see it?
It's the Chiefs.
Okay.
It's the Chiefs. 2, I gotta put the Saints just off of how well they looked and how much Mike Thomas brings back to that offense. 3, I gotta put the Steelers just because they haven't lost yet. The Steelers worry me simply because they haven't played a full game yet.
Yep.
And it's kind of like in the playoffs, you have to play a full game. Like, it's either a great first half or a great second half. Never great both. But yeah, that's 3, 4. I'm still going to keep the Bucks there. At 5, I'm going to put the Seahawks. At 6, I'm going to put the Ravens. And at 7, I'm going to go with the Titans.
Okay. So I'm gonna start off 1. I got Chiefs. I think that's easy. 2, I got Saints as well. I gave it to the Saints. I think 5 wins in a row. That deserves something. 3, I got Steelers. I completely agree. Like, I don't think they ever played a complete game yet, and they're 8-0. But they're like the most shakiest 8-0 I think I've seen in a while. 4, I got the Pack. I think Aaron Rodgers, he's up in his play more and more every week. 5, I got the Bucks. 6, I got the Cards. I think even in a loss, I think Kyler Murray showed me that he could put a team on his back, and I like that. 7, I got the Seahawks. 8, I have the Titans. 9, I still have Indy because, the defense just got worn out. You know what I mean? So, and yeah, that's my list.
All right. So 1, I got the Chiefs. I think that's clear for everybody. I switch it up at 2, and I go Pittsburgh. I think they're not getting enough credit for being 8-0 while they haven't always looked the best. I think being 8-0 is an accomplishment in itself. They're still finding a way to win games, and I think that's something to be praised for. 3, I got the Saints. They've been hot lately. Getting Mike Thomas back opens up that offense for Drew Brees. If the defense keeps playing the way they are, they're just only going to get better. 4, I got the Titans. The reason I put the Titans here is because, like I said, I think behind the Steelers, they're the next best team to challenge the Chiefs. They've been playing well outside of the loss to Cincinnati, obviously, but they're a pretty solid team all around. 5, I'm going to go Baltimore. 6, I'm going to go Tampa Bay. And then 7, I'm going to go Green Bay. Round that out. NFC teams, eating it out.
Like that. Seems like we all got a pretty even scale of who we think the top 7 teams are, which is good.
So something that I realized, none of our top 7 have the Rams. Do y'all see them possibly making any type of noise in either the conference playoffs or possibly making a run and possibly challenging the Chiefs?
I think just to touch it briefly, I think they will make the playoffs, and it depends on their matchups, how far they will go. Like, I think they match up with certain teams. I think they don't match up with certain teams. So depending on the Rams matchup, I think that's how far they go.
I definitely like the Rams team. I just feel like I like other teams just a little bit more. Like,
agreed.
Division with the Seahawks and the Cardinals, I like both of those teams better than them. I don't think that's anything against the Rams. I just think those 2 teams are better than them. Like, and they'll play better in the playoffs if they were to see them. I think those are 2 teams that they would lose to.
Interesting. Okay.
So something I really wanted to touch up on, since we're sticking with football lately, is it's been a lot of this NFL policy of black coaches, right? So I think this basically this past week, what's going on is that if you are a team and you groom a black GM or a black head coach candidate, the teams that groom those candidates are rewarded with a 3rd round pick for that year and then a 3rd round pick for the following year. So you get 2 3rd round picks and success of a black man, right? And the biggest question or the biggest concern that me and TS talked about was the hottest commodity in the NFL right now with Eric Bieniemy, right? And it's almost disgusting to speak on it because you want to reward somebody who worked their behind off and can't get the job because they are black. So you're going to force their hand somebody to hire them. For example, the Texans, who need draft capital, who are in a position where they don't have anything right now, right? So they're going to force their hand to hire Eric Bieniemy. So now he's in a bad spot, but you get the third round pick. You know what I mean? So personally, I don't like that. It's modern day slavery.
At
If we're
all.
being honest, is modern day slavery, and it's disgusting that the NFL even thought of a protocol of that nature. And if I'm Eric Bieniemy, I stay where I'm at, and I
Yeah.
pull a Josh McDaniels. Like, you will not put me in a situation to fail. One, right? Because I didn't earn that, and two, you're not going to allow me to hang myself with a rope in a bad situation. So I stay where I'm at with Pat. I just demand a higher salary, and I just pull off a Josh McDaniels, and I stay where I'm at. If I'm partnering with Andy Reid, I don't have anything to worry about. I know I'll always be competitive. But I just wanted to open, the conversation to you guys about what you think.
So I saw that they were talking on this in the summer. I was like, okay, like there's like no way that this could like seriously pass. And then when I saw that it did get passed, I was like, who voted yes? Why?
Jerry
Like,
Jones, Robert Kraft.
like it's kind of like, why do teams have to profit off of black men, but say a white coach gets the same job, they aren't getting draft picks? Like, like really, like what is the difference with black coaches and white coaches, and why do black coaches have to get the draft picks on with them? That just
And the thing
yeah,
is, there is no damn difference because you look at Mike Tomlin. He's been there 14 years and had 0 losing seasons. You know what I
zero.
mean? Like Anthony Lynn, even though his teams don't win, but how he grooms talent and gets production out of players is
They
second to
are
none.
they are competitive every single week.
Every single week,
Every
every single
single week.
year, it doesn't matter. And then when you look at Eric Bieniemy, listen, he's an offensive coordinator. I don't want to hear Andy Reid is playing the calls. When the message is getting relayed to Patrick Mahomes, he's hearing Eric Bieniemy's voice, which means he's calling the plays, which means he should get treated as such. Like, I don't understand why it's always, oh, he has the most wins for a black coach. No, Mike Tomlin is tied top 10 in the league for coaching wins. Let's announce that. Not that he has more coaches, has more wins for being a black coach. Like, yeah, or more than Tony Dungy. It's getting to the point to where it's like you're not even scared to hide what you're doing. Like, you're just blatantly just announcing and dealing with whatever whatever. Give him a third round pick for hiring a black man. And it's trash. Like, the league been trash, but it's like you just don't even care anymore. You know what I mean? So
Thoughts, KJ?
I mean, I don't real like the statement itself was obvious. It's something that's disgusting, and the NFL has been like this for a while. Obviously, most notably the whole Colin Kaepernick situation.
yeah.
Everybody knows about that, and I just keep feeling like they keep taking step backwards instead of steps forward. And I think that they need to get people to make decisions who actually understand like what'll be right, what'll be fair, and not just throw out things that they feel is right that would obviously hurt or make other people feel uncomfortable. I don't know about other people, but this policy makes someone like me feel uncomfortable. And I know that the coaches in the league probably feel uncomfortable about it too. So
Facts. Like, can you
the
imagine
NFL,
how like Brian Flores is feeling? You know what I
exactly,
mean? Like,
like, yeah,
they are probably, and I may be wrong, but to me, in my years of living, that is the first black head coach GM duo I've ever seen. Like, ever.
they're doing well.
In my time of
Yeah,
watching NFL football. You know what I mean? So,
that
like,
that's true.
and they earned their stripes though. So, that's like saying, oh, and they earned their stripes, but then you want to reward it with giving a third round pick. For what? They earned it just like everyone else. You don't do nothing with sorry ass Adam Gase got a head coaching job. You know what I mean? Like, so it's to me, it's corny. It's yet again they dropped the ball. It's like they don't know. You know what I mean? Like they just seem like when it comes to African Americans, they don't know what they're doing again. But they love us because we're in their league. We're the reason why their league is going on. Like their best players in the NFL right now are black. So it's like their money makers are black. Like your top 4 quarterbacks, statistically speaking, are black. So they like to profit off us, but they don't want to give the right recognition in regards to the black man in the NFL, and it's been like that for years. So
hit the nail right on the head, Zeke. Right on the head.
I mean, KJ, if you want to touch up on your basketball talk.
Oh, all right, yeah. All right, so James Harden has been, the Rockets in general have been on social media lately saying they don't know if they're going to blow it up or try to keep it intact. Harden and Russ in specific are questionable about the future of the Rockets. And if Harden were to get traded, I've seen that he's real interested in 3 teams in specific, would be the Heat, the Nets, or the Sixers. And I just want to know, in your eyes, where would you want to see him personally? And then what do you think would be the best fit for him basketball-wise?
All right, so I'll start. Just prior to getting into that, the Rockets just hired a black head coach, and they're talking about blowing the whole thing up. So he's going into a
shitty situation, right?
Situation, but we move. But personally, I mean, we've talked on Harden and the Sixers. Harden and the Heat would actually be pretty interesting, simply because the Heat need offense, and I think that Harden would be able to fit into that culture. Because
he's a grinder.
Yeah, he's a grinder.
He's a grinder.
Like that is a team that's based off culture. So you pair Harden with Bam, that pick and roll would be crazy.
Absolutely.
Would be lethal. If they're able to hold on to Duncan Robinson, that'll be crucial as well, because that'll keep the floor space for Harden, and plus they'll still have Jimmy Butler too. So Harden with the Heat, will probably be the best for him, in my opinion.
I think I like him at the Sixers. I think because big market, you know what I mean? Big market, big name, Philly, James Harden, Joel Embiid. Like, Philly would go crazy, so I would like that. But I think the one that makes the most sense is the Heat. I think because Jimmy Butler, not that he can't carry the offensive load, but it seems that it affects how he plays when he has to, and that showed in the finals. Mm-hmm. So I think if you pull a little bit back from him and give James Harden, that role or whatever, I think Jimmy fits in as a very good, like 1B type superstar. So I think that lineup of Jimmy Butler and James Harden and Bam Adebayo would be lots of fits for a lot of people. And plus culture down there. So, they're going to have grinders and people that want to play defense. So I think that'll probably be the most perfect fit for him. I think so.
Okay, so yeah, I definitely do like the Heat fit, but I'm going to say that I like the Sixer fit better only if they were able to pull it off while keeping both Ben and Joel.
No.
I mean, it depends on what direction the Rockets are going to go. If they're going into a full rebuild,
then they're going to want Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably. I don't know. If they
go for a rebuild, they're going to want Ben Simmons.
Obviously, if they don't have both of them, I don't like the Sixer fit much. I would probably say the Nets over the Heat, just for the strict fact that the Nets have a lot more talent. There'll be a lot more top heavy. Obviously, people will complain about touches and you got too many scores, blah blah. I don't think that would be a problem.
We're done with trios, KJ. Like, can't we leave trios alone? Like, keep it duos. Duos been looking good for the league, man.
but the Nets would have to give up a lot for Harden. Which means their depth would take a big like hurt. So they would have to stay top heavy, which I think with that top heavy is perfectly fine. You're not gonna lose out on anything, but I don't know.
Them play defense.
I think the Heat is just, like I said, I like the fit. I think it would just be iffy because you're gonna have to give up Harrow probably. You're probably gonna have to give up Duncan Robinson. So you're giving up your shooters. Obviously, you're getting the best scorer in the NBA, but James Harden. But it's like James Harden. He's getting older. He's not going to be here forever. So I don't think that's a good move for the Heat long term. Obviously, it'll make them a high favorite, but does putting James Harden on the Heat make them better than the Nets? I don't even know if it does. So it's just, it could go either way. Obviously, any team that gets Harden is going to benefit. But out of those three, I like him with the Nets the most.
I definitely think the Nets will be able to give the most back to Houston. I think that Karras is super tough.
He's such a bucket.
Like Karras in the bubble. And no, Karras really
in general.
Karras this whole season really carried.
He did. He really did. I like him.
I think Karras and Dinwiddie both.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, Karras, Dinwiddie, and they would probably come up out of Jared Allen too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And really having those three pieces, I don't think that sends them into a full rebuild, but that'll send them, to the bottom of the Western Conference, fighting for that 7-8 seed line.
It's funny that you say that, fighting for that 7-8 seed line, because rumor has it that the Suns are trying to finalize a trade to get Chris Paul. So I just wanted to know, we talked about this during the week, and, KJ thinks that makes them top 4, and TS thinks it doesn't.
I love it.
I'm iffy on it. I just wanted to know what do y'all think.
I hate the deal at the same time, right? So I love the deal for the Thunder, and I hate the deal for the Suns, but it makes them better. And here's why I hate the deal for the Suns, right? They're traded for Chris Paul. Chris Paul is 35, right? They're probably going to come up out of Kelly Oubre. I think I've said on here that Kelly Oubre is going to be a nice corner piece, right? So if the Suns do it, it's really hard to say that they'll lose the deal because they're getting Chris Paul, and getting Chris Paul is going to make them a top 5 team in the West. I don't think that it'll put them in the top 4 necessarily. It could, but with what they have, I put them at 5. But for the Thunder, if they get Kelly Oubre, they pair him with Shai. That's mad length right there. And then they have all those from the Clippers. The Clippers are going to implode soon. So those are going to be good draft picks, bro. That will put the Thunder in great shape. But that's why I love it and hate it at the same time.
Now, KJ, you said they were top 4. Now, why do you think signing Chris Paul would make them top 4?
Okay, so Chris Paul did. So I look at how he was in OKC, right? So Chris Paul did great things with Shai. He helped Shai take a step. He definitely needed. He's a great mentor. So,
absolutely.
And that was the Thunder's second best player, Shai. So now you give him someone like Devin Booker, who we've been high on. Me personally, I've been high on him for years now, and he doesn't get a lot of the respect that he deserves. He's not really playing in a lot of nationally televised primetime game. He hasn't been in the playoffs, so the average basketball fan who doesn't know the ins and details might not know much about Devin Booker, but he's easily, in my opinion, a top 10 talent. His talent, his skill set is ridiculous. So give him someone like Chris Paul that's going to help him take the step that he needs to take mentally, not physically, because his game is there physically. I don't think that's what he needs help with. I think he needs the mental aspect. He needs to get better on the defensive end. Something that Chris Paul can help him with. I think Chris Paul will help turn him into a leader. Devin Booker, as good as he is and as good of a player he is, he's not necessarily a leader. And I think that's something that he needs to pick up on. And Chris Paul
definitely has some Kyrie Irving to him.
Exactly.
Not regards of him being a bad leader, but more of a I'm gonna do what I gotta do to try to win, regardless. You know what I mean? So that's more him. But I feel as if I forgot where I heard this. Actually, Chris Broussard said it best, right? Like Devin Booker's, what is it, 25 points per game? Like it's nice, it's gaudy. You know what I mean? Like it's gaudy, but it's not effective. Chris Paul would help that 25 points per game be an effective 25 points per game. So that's where I think Chris Paul goes in and helps them. And also DeAndre Ayton is a problem. Like I don't care who it is. Like whoever's guarding him, you're gonna have a hard time guarding him. So I think when you pair leadership up and Monty Williams, if I'm not mistaken, as coaching, with coaching that team, with everything that like with that pieces that they have, with the young talent, with Mikal Bridges, like I think you have a recipe of success. Now, if it's a top 4, I don't think it's top 4.
I think
it's about. I think it's maybe 6, 7, 8. You know what I mean?
See, here's the thing, right? Look, here's the thing, right? So in the West, is kind of like the top 4, like in like their own tier, and then 5 and 6 could be right there, and then 7 through 10, like they're like all like just separated by like maybe 2-3 games, like every year. I'm putting them in that 5-6 tier with Dallas.
I think it's more of a 4. That's why I say top 4, because I think they're more in a 4, 5, 6 tier. I think the 1, 2, 3 is the Lakers, Clippers, Warriors. You can like. I think most people would say that.
It's not the Clippers.
See, here's the thing.
I'm saying regular season wise, like you, like the Clippers are probably going to get one of those top seeds, probably.
I'm putting the Nuggets in that tier as well. You have to put the Nuggets.
I know that they beat the Clippers. I know that.
You have to put the Nuggets in that tier.
I see now. When I was saying 4 or 5,
the second straight year, Karan. The second straight year.
KJ.
Second straight year. What?
Final question, guys.
Final question. Dogging Denver.
Yes, I agree. Now, final question. Your top 4 in the West. Go ahead, KJ. What's going to be your top 4 in the West?
My top 4 in the West is probably going to be 1, the Lakers, 2, Golden State, 3, the Clippers. And the way the West is constructed right now, 3, the Clippers, and 4 is probably right now. It's probably going to be Denver or Dallas. But
what about you?
Like now, like right now.
Yeah, your top 4 for the West.
1, the Lakers, 2, the Warriors, 3, the Nuggets, 4, the Clippers.
Me and you completely agree on the same list.
I just can't. I definitely like the Nuggets a lot. Like I like Jamal Murray, I like Jokic, but I just don't think like they're that. I don't think they're gonna get to the final. I don't think they're one of those duos that can get to the final.
So here is why, right? We know what Murray and Jokic have, right? They're getting back Will Barton, who I think is one of the most underrated players in the whole.
Gary Harris, 3-and-D.
And Gary Harris is going to be healthy. And Michael Porter Jr., we saw flashes in the playoffs. I think that he's going to make that leap. And having him as that third option is really going to do wonders for Jokic and Murray to keep doing what they do.
Honestly, I'm going to say barring any injuries, I'm just going to say it now. Barring any injuries, I like the Mavericks over the Nuggets in a 7-game series any day of the week next year. Any day of the week.
This is, all right, even if they keep Jeremy Grant, because I said that hoping to re-sign Jeremy Grant.
They better, because losing him.
They have to. They have to.
He earned his money, so if he leave and get his money, I ain't even mad at him because he earned it. So, but ladies and gentlemen, that's episode 4. Talk of the town, give us a shout out. We appreciate all the love that we've been receiving on Twitter. Don't forget, follow me _chapter9_ on Twitter.
Follow me at Karan Johnson 23.
Follow me at TStokes _SHU and follow the podcast at _Talk of the Town 1. Catch y'all next week.
Next week we will have a guest host, not a guest host, but we will have a guest on the show. So we appreciate if everybody just tune in. Thank you.
Y'all be easy.